Hey Copper Nerds, let's take a look at this 1794 Sheldon 65. Pretty good detail remaining, eh? We've got a very bold rim and dentillation. The date is, again, very bold and clear. Our hair details are fairly well defined. The bust tip is well defined, as is the shoulder loop. I mean, we're talking about a lot of detail remaining on this 1794 Sheldon 65 until we actually look at the overall coin. That doesn't look like the same coin, does it? Does that look like I'm showing you the same thing we were looking at? We got very little face detail. Liberty's pretty well obliterated. There's really no rim. I mean, this is not a nice looking coin in this region, but oh, look at that. That is phenomenal. What's going on there? Let's get into it. So the obverse die that was used to strike Sheldon 64, Sheldon 65, and NC6 is known as the Shielded Hair Obverse. And the result is what we're seeing there. You can see on a high-grade example, there's this deep dished rim and dentillation around the lower left, which as the coin circulates, shields and protects the date, the hair details, and the lower part of the bust. But with circulation, these details all go. On mid-grade examples, sometimes it's even more prominent where you've got just beautiful hair details and you can see the angular, like someone just cut away the details on the upper half. None of my coins quite exhibit that, but I wanted to take a look at some of my examples of shielded hair coins. In particular, I have a rather nice Sheldon 64, which is the missing fraction bar variety. You can see the fraction bar is missing there. This one's in late die state with a sunken reverse die and a heavy crack through D, and even a little pie shape wedge from where part of that crack through D sunk, and then you got a little buckle that goes next to the S and states. Look for that when I show you some zooms on this one. And then I like Sheldon 65s in late die state because there's a crack that develops. In fact, the new powers attribution guide, that's one of the things that he changed, is how we look at the crack on the Sheldon 65. So I say that to say the reverse of these is oftentimes slick, like that, like this, like that, completely slick. So you shouldn't be able to tell what the obverse was if it's been used on 3 different deployments. However, late in Sheldon 65, a pair of die cracks through the date develops. And I think that's a really cool feature that I can positively ID a multiple use obverse in a poor 1 grade. So that's what I collect. I don't have a high-end Sheldon 65. It's a common variety. I can afford a nice one. I just like to have them in low grade with that very cool diagnostic feature. And then someday I'll get a nice one. But Sheldon 65, we have sort of a middle die state there, which has a crack through the S, and then on the reverse, that crack develops further. But what you see, if you look at that little inset, is the cracks that go through the 1 and the 9. Those are very late die state, Sheldon 65 only. So that's what I've been collecting. I've been talking plenty. Let's go ahead and look at a few photos. So we're going back from the future regarding busting this out, because the photos you're going to see this coin. I just picked this one up off of eBay. That's what we were looking at on my tablet. So I haven't even seen this one yet. It's a little brassier than I was expecting, based on photos, which is fine. There's a tape mark on the reverse, which impaired some toning. That's opposite the rim bump. There's a little more detail remaining here, partially protected perhaps by that bump. So I just definitely mishandled that coin slightly, but I'll make sure there's no fingerprints. So this one's gonna need to tone up a little bit, which is fine. It doesn't have too much gunk on it, but a little. I'll probably give it a little hit of acetone, but late dye state, I love it. The crack through the 9, the crack through the 1. This is a rather nice example. It was a couple $100. This is the one that I have had as my Sheldon 65, which is a little bit lower grade than the new one, but perhaps a little nicer surfaces. And then I've had this one, my lowball typeset has my 1794 Sheldon 65 in a straight graded pour 1 slab. And this is a really nice coin. I like it. But again, what I enjoy about this variety is that it's very attributable in an abysmal grade because the shielding of the rim protects enough devices to make out the date, and in late dye state Sheldon 65 to do the diagnostic. Again, on the reverse of these, before they were circulated to death, they would have had that late reverse crack. Let's look at that again. Back into the new Powers Guide. This guide just released, you guys. If you do want to get your hands on one, you need to drop Robert Powers an email at that email address right there, eacbookusa@hotmail.com. That's Robert's contact. So again, we see that reverse crack, which is a very prominent crack. It's a very noticeable crack in any kind of respectable condition. But again, these are so low grade that nothing whatsoever remains on the reverse detail of that crack. Sort of a fun phenomenon. You also have to be careful when you're grading a shielded hair because you're going to have bolder details for the grade here than up here. You have to sort of average the two halves of the coin to really understand what its grade is. And sometimes grading by the reverse might make more sense. I mean, this one is definitely basal state. I mean, there is nothing left on this reverse that's attributable. And again, the only reason this has anything attributable is likely related to, well, you know, there's damage that's here that goes to there, which would have shielded this area. Yeah, I'm going to say that likely the damage that occurred here and here provided some shielding for those devices that you can barely make out right there. And again, this one, nothing remains on the reverse, but plenty of detail on the obverse along with those date cracks. That's what I've got for this one, y'all. I hope you learned something new. The Shielded Hair Obverse is neat, presents interesting grading challenges, but also a fun ability to attribute a variety that is in pour 1 condition with certainty, even though it's a multiple use obverse, in late dye state, which these 3 are. Thanks for checking this one out. Hit me up in the comments, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.